My name is I am a senior business consultant with the South Carolina Small Business Development Center, and I am also an food systems and agribusiness specialist. SBDC offers consulting, um, free and confidential, to any person in South Carolina. And myself, along with Mitch Smith with the South Carolina Research Authority, which we will introduce shortly here, the SBDC and the SCRA have partnered with Wells Fargo to um, produce this program and bring this great opportunity to you. It's very exciting, and we just look forward to give you more information on it. So, without further ado, I'll go ahead and advance us through the program here. And again, you can put questions in the Q&A, and we will answer those questions at certain intervals. We'll stop and see what's in there, and we may answer some as we go through the program. But we do have uh, a period of time at the end where we're going to answer as many questions as possible. So with that, I'm going to introduce Mitch Smith, Mitch Smith, who is the Senior Investment Manager with SCRA. And I'll let Mitch tell you a little bit about the SCRA and how SCRA was able to apply for this grant, and we partnered together
Mhm.
and kind of came up with this whole program.
Exactly. Well, thanks, Jim, and thanks everyone for being on. We're excited to have everybody participating. You know, a lot of people in our state don't realize this is still the number one uh, business in the state of South Carolina is agriculture business, and we cannot let that slide. It's not hospitality, it's not hotels and tourism, it's agriculture. So that's why this grant is so important. You know, all of our farmers have been hit with the high cost of fertilizer to equipment. Now they're getting inundated with data and they don't know what to do with it. So as you can imagine, we're hoping that through all you smart and creative people out there who are ideating these new ideas or creating new companies, you're finding some very cool things that we could bring to the farming community and hopefully help them produce more crop, reduce cost, whatever it may be. Take all the information that they're collecting and make it simple to understand so they can be smarter. So there's a lot out there. So let me tell you a little bit about South Carolina Research Authority. We've been around for a long time, over 40 years, but really one of the things we focused on the last 20 or roughly the last 20 is the entrepreneurial side of what's happening in our state. We're basically a quasi-state agency that our sole purpose is to help innovate, to improve innovation for the state of South Carolina. And how does that happen? We actually work with companies that are entrepreneurial, generally utilizing some form of technology, and are trying to build a company at scale, to truly build a company based here in South Carolina. So with that, so not only do you think about like the grant program we're talking about here, we actually offer three types of grants. A startup grant at 25,000, acceleration grant at 50,000, and we also do what's called a demonstration grant for another 50,000. That's really $100,000 in total for that grant. And then once these companies progress to this may take 6 months, this may take 2 years. Then we actually have one of the few states in the entire country that actually has a venture arm. So we actually make venture investments from $250,000 to $400,000 in South Carolina companies. We have over 200 member companies across the state in some varying ways of technology. It could be ag tech, med tech, um, logistics technology, military technology, the gamut you can imagine around the state. And roughly, I would say roughly 30% of those companies have moved forward to receive some form of investment in us. Probably over 80%, maybe 85 have received grants. So as you can see, we're big about trying to advance innovation and technology. And what's exciting for me, I'm a former farmer from Kershaw, South Carolina. This is very, as you can imagine, very much a reason I want to be a part of this project with Jim and Keisha. Hey, how do we help the farming community advance in South Carolina? And let's really advance ag tech in South Carolina. So we're just excited that you're being a part of this program. One of the things to know, we got a lot of people applying. We've got 14 grants to give out. if you didn't get this grant, don't worry. Our goal is to create a path for you to success. So both myself, Javon Jones, who works with me, covering South Carolina, will actually be there to help and guide you even through that, what we call the entrepreneurial journey, to help you through this program, working with people like Jim and Keisha at SBDC, to SCORE, to accelerators in the state to help you get your idea to market and create a company. So one again, just excited that you're participating and know that we're here to help and to be a part of your journey. Thanks, Jim.
All right, thank you, Mitch. And yeah, I'm glad you pointed out that there are other funding opportunities outside
We
of this
are.
one too.
Yeah.
And that's a part of, what we want to do to help support the ag community. SCRA has shown a lot of interest in not only supporting the tech and innovation community in South Carolina, but also the agribusiness
Mhm.
community around tech and innovation. So we appreciate your support there.
And one of the things, Jim, I think that's very key for this group to understand, what we're about to go through in this journey is not taught in college. That's why myself, Javon, Jimmy, and Keisha are here. There are things we're going to be discussing on this journey that you don't learn in school. You learn through experience and failure, which I learned a lot through. I did 4 tech startups. So our goal is to help you in this journey so you don't make the mistakes we made, Jimmy made, that we can help you take the right next step. So there's going to be a lot of education in this, a lot of webinars that are going to be beneficial for you to make the right next step.
All righty. Thank you very much, Mitch. So we have SCRA and also the Small Business Development Center, as I mentioned at the beginning. Again, my name is Jim Johnson, and also with me is Keisha Rainey. Keisha and I both work for SBDC. Keisha's been helping us on this project. Both have long-standing agribusiness knowledge and experience. We've been working in this industry for quite some time, and you'll learn more about what the SBDC and SERA are offering as we go through this presentation today. Should be very interesting to you. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and well, actually, got one more slide before I hand it over to Keisha. And I put this slide in here because I thought it was important to put things in context with our State Department of Agriculture. If you're not familiar with the SCDA, our Department of Agriculture, they have a great agribusiness team, and they focus. Uh, they have significant focus on how to move South Carolina forward in agribusiness, and they've created plans on focus areas that they'd like to see diversifying South Carolina's agribusiness. And as you can see, these are kind of the 6 areas that they've identified, and that first one being agricultural technologies, right? And a lot of these, focus in on innovation and technology because honestly, it's part of the future, and I think most people on here know that. So I just like to point that out because what we're doing here also aligns, strategically with what's going on, with our state and where our State Department of Ag sees agribusiness going in the future. So now I'm going to introduce Keisha Rainey to you. And Keisha is going to go through the next several sections here of the presentation. Keisha.
Thanks, Jim and Mitch, and good evening, everyone. So we're just going to jump in here with a little bit of general overview of the project, things that will be eligible, things that will be ineligible, and things that you should prepare for your application. So this is made possible by Wells Fargo, the Cultivating Innovation and SC Agribusiness, Making Small Farms Big Business program. This strategic initiative designed to foster innovation and accelerate growth within small to medium-sized agribusiness such across South Carolina. This program produced by the SC Research Authority, SC Small Business Development Centers, and other key collaborators will provide intensive training, mentorship, and significant financial awards to enable agribusiness to develop and implement innovative solutions. This program will be extremely competitive, and we will be choosing between small to medium agribusinesses to take part in the agribusiness innovation cohort, which we'll look at a little further shortly. And this is a one-time grant that will be awarded up to $30,000. Within this program, you will have to apply an online form. Within the online form, you will have a detailed proposal about what you're proposing for this project, your business needs and goals, financial snapshot, letters of commitment, and a crucial 5-minute video. We have examples of what this video can look like on our website, and this video will serve as a virtual pitch demonstrating the agribusiness facility, proposed product, process, and the applicant's passion. Also, if you are accepted into this program, you will be a part of a 5 series webinar that will cover critical topics. These topics will be innovation, landscape, and utilizing AI tools, validating your innovation and market fit, building a business case and financial projections, protecting your innovation and navigating regulations, and scaling strategic partnerships and sharpening your vision. We also hope that you will gain some peer-to-peer learning opportunities to foster collaboration among your cohort members, and hopefully that will thrive to even have further collaborations outside of this program as you go on. Once the event is coming to a close, we will have a capstone innovation showcase and awards event. This is where our participants will display their refined innovation plans and receive their awards. This will be held as an in-person event, and it will be significant for networking opportunities and also showcases participants' achievements to partners and our industry leaders. The timeline for this program, applications launch on Monday, December 1st. The application deadline is February 2nd, 2026 at 11:59 p.m., so start early. You will be notified if you are in the cohort by February 5th, and the program will start February 12th. So that's the application link, the www.scaginnovation.com, and that will also be in the chat for you as well. To be eligible to apply for this program, you must be a for-profit business operating in the agricultural industry in South Carolina, and you must fall into one of these categories. So, agricultural producer, agribusiness within processing, distribution and marketing, support industries including farm equipment, seed companies, producers of fertilizers, pesticides, and ag technology. You can also apply as an agricultural cooperative if you are compromised of for profits. It's really also important to know that you must be currently in the state of South Carolina for at least one tax year, which means you have done your taxes for that tax year. To know if you're unsure if you are considered a small or medium-sized agribusiness, the definition of small, medium-sized is based on SBA, which is our Small Business Administration size standards, which is determined by your unique NAICS code, which is your 6-digit number that classifies your business by its industry. And you can use your SBA size standard tool and the next lookup tool, to determine your size standard. Eligible expenses. So the expenses eligible for this will be, but are not limited to, labor and personnel, working capital, research and development, supplies and materials, equipment and technology, intellectual property and legal, professional services, marketing, and commercial readiness. It is very important to note that whatever you are funded for is what you need to be using the funds for. So, for example, if you are funded for a project of technology, you can't go and take those funds and then switch those to labor and personnel. Projects that will be deemed ineligible: purchase or acquisition of real property, and that includes land, debt repayment or refinancing, academic or research only projects without a defined business or commercialization plan, projects located outside of South Carolina or not primarily benefiting South Carolina agriculture, political lobbying or advocacy activities. So these are just a few things that we will deem ineligible, but if you are unsure before you apply, if your project were fit or not, you can always reach out to us for more clarification. And I believe now I'll hand it off to Jim to talk about what innovation is.
Thank you very much, Keisha. And, we kind of figured that we would have a lot of questions around eligibility. We tried to be as clear as possible about eligibility. You do need to be, as Keisha said, for profit, and you need to have been in business for 1 year. And that's, you don't necessarily have to have filed your tax return, but if you have, that's good documentation that, you've been in business for at least 1 year, or at least one tax year, right? Some people may have started up in the tax year. But just to try to be clear there as possible, we can always make clarifications, and you can contact us for any clarification on that. So what is innovation? This is another example that we get, or this is another question that we get pretty frequently about this program. So we put a definition in here. And of course, the successful development or implementation of a novel or significantly improved idea that creates tangible value for South Carolina agribusiness or the broader agricultural system. That's kind of a general, uh, uh, definition there. But more specific, you've got all types of innovations, really. Product innovations, service innovations, process practices that you're implementing on in your business and on the farm if you're an agricultural producer, and then of course technology adoption and innovation. So a lot of people I think have this concept that innovation just has to do with technology or the application of maybe like computer-based adaptations or whatnot, which is not the case necessarily, right? There's all types of ways. Man has been innovating since the Industrial Revolution, or really since we invented the wheel, right? First innovation, fire, and then the wheel. So yeah, it's just like how can you improve on what you're doing? That's, a significant improvement that has impact on your business and hopefully the greater, agriculture community in South Carolina. And, through product innovations, it could be, and I've gotten this question several times, about, new strains or breeds of crops. If a lot of folks, trying to grow things that are tolerant in South Carolina weather. That could be an innovation if they come up with something that's really um, uh, workable and thrives here. In service innovations, you have different business models. We're hearing business models all the time that are new, that take maybe newer technologies and ideas and then adapt them to maybe old models and create, something totally new, right? And I think we all know this, as through the advent of the cell phone and AI and all the new technology that's come along. And so then how can we take some of these integrated in what we have and come up with something entirely new, right? Whether it's a business model or whatnot. And process is just how you do things, activities, and practices, farming practices. All these can be, innovative. So, and I've heard a lot of ideas. So we are here to help you too. So Keisha, Mitch, Javon, and I, if through this process you are applying and you just want to, run the idea by us to see if this might be something that is innovative, something that creates an appealing proposal. We'll be willing to. We're there to give you our feedback and advice. So this is a little bit about what's innovative. Just to put the definition out there. The grant also, we created some priority areas because of our funder and because of the need to be focused on, how this money is spent. We put priorities out there. So the priority areas for this grant are, one, of course, advancing innovation uh, in small agribusinesses. This is also an eligibility criteria too, so it's kind of like a double priority area, right? We want to support small business. Wells Fargo wants to support small business and small farms and small agribusinesses in South Carolina. So that's one of our top priorities. Also supporting historically underserved farmers. We want to do that. Historically underserved is defined in the USDA. It's a pretty broad definition of folks that fall into that category, including women, veterans, socially disadvantaged. But all these folks we'd like to support, and Wells Fargo wants to support those as well. And then leveraging technology for agriculture, of course, technology proposals, we would have some priority area in. We do want to support projects that will have a broad impact across multiple South Carolina farms if possible, right? You can make a proposal that's going to benefit your business, and we definitely want that, right? We want your business to be more sustainable and more and successful. But we would also love it if, the proposal that you're putting forth is something that maybe other farms could adopt one day, or other agribusinesses could adopt one day to then help them be better farms, more efficient, more sustainable. When the proposal includes the potential impact over multiple farms and positive impact on the agricultural community, this is something that we want to see. And then lastly, we definitely prioritize folks that can show financial sustainability and viability in their project proposals. So these are a few priority areas. If you don't feel like you fall within these priority areas, it will not mean that you don't have a strong proposal. You could still have a very strong proposal. It might not necessarily link to one of these. It might link to all of them. It might link to one. So you know, it's just kind of a guide or a framework to understand. Now, let's see, we're going to go to the actual components of the application, and I'm going to step through the different parts of the application and try to um, really give you some tips and some guidance. And I've been working in the grant world for at least 10 years. Uh, I've written over hundreds of grants that have been funded, and I've also reviewed grants for multiple types of organizations, from the USDA down to the state, down to private grants. And SCRA is highly experienced in grant review, and they have their own grants, as Mitch mentioned in the beginning. So we did our best to put together an application that was fair and help identify the best candidates for what we're trying to achieve through the process. So the first part of the application is pretty straightforward. It's really part of determining eligibility. You have to create a business profile. The basics of what your business is and what you do. You need to choose an agribusiness category. Hopefully, that's an eligible category. And also, as mentioned, you're going to have to enter your NAICS code to determine eligibility, right? And so if you have any issues like trying to figure out what your NAICS, N-A-I-C-S code is, there's plenty of resources where you can look that up. I would imagine that like 99% of people are going to be eligible based on their NAICS NAICS code, because the SBA standards are pretty liberal as far as what's a small business. And most I would imagine that most folks would fall under that. But if you have questions, of course, we do have, again, technical assistants that will be able to help answer those. And I think giving a background and summary of the operation is important, just to give context, to what you do, and where you're located and all those good things. So that's kind of the first part. And that part is more like of eligibility, part. There's probably not, it's not really scored based on the first part, but it's more important for eligibility and setting the context. The part two is where you're going to get scored, right? This is where the scoring starts, and this is actually probably this is the heavier scored section of the grant application, because this is the innovation proposal, right? This is kind of like the meat of it. Um, this is your concept. This is your idea for your project that you're putting forth. Within this section, you're going to identify a problem, because every good business is solving a problem. right? And every good business idea is solving a problem. And every business has them. We have many of them, and every industry has them. So then the concept is you're solving a problem, but what is the innovation? What's the innovative process or idea that you're using to solve this problem? So, identifying the problem, then proposing your innovation of how you're going to solve that problem. And also how you're gonna, you have this innovation, how's that going to be implemented within your farm? What are your ideas around that? And what's the expected impact the innovation will, and how will it benefit your business? And also, thinking broader, how will it impact the agricultural community? Because you may recall, in our priority area, we want to know, how can this also help other farms possibly in the future, or other folks in your community? Um, and also your proposal should demonstrate some creativity, some feasibility, and strong connection between your idea and the real world challenges that you're facing in South Carolina. Um, One of the things we did, as we mentioned, the eligibility criteria that you needed to be in business for at least 1 year. We were intentional about putting that. We didn't necessarily just want, like, startup ideas. We want something that's going to come from existing businesses that, have got their hands dirty, so to speak. They've been in business. They kind of know what's going on. They see the problems firsthand. They've experienced them. They've had some failures, and they kind of know what needs to be done with innovation, right? So that's part of the idea. So there's an 800 word limit to this section, which is pretty lengthy, um, and plenty of space to put down a good narrative there in the proposal section. So this is part two, and this is heavily weighted in the scoring rubric. And then part three, we go to business viability and capacity. This also has an 800 word limit. And really, this section of the grant is designed to help reviewers understand your readiness. Um, are you capable of, carrying out this project? We want to, you're trying to demonstrate your ability and capabilities to do this. When any funder invests money, whether it's a bank, offering loans, or a grantor offering, money that doesn't have to be paid back, they want to see that their investment carries on and is effective. And part of that is just by investing in businesses that demonstrate that they can take the money that they're given and be good stewards of that money, and that they can follow through with these proposals. So viability and capacity is important. There's operational capacity, just demonstrating that you have the facilities and the systems and the time to do this in place. There's market viability, depending on what your proposal is for the innovation. Is there actually a market for this, right? And I always, when I work with folks, that's one of the first areas I focus on is the market. And kind of you can work back from there a lot of the times, because there has to be a market for something. And anybody in agriculture knows that for sure. If there's no market for it, then it becomes a little bit more challenging to make feasible. So, you have market viability. You're trying to demonstrate that. You have a team. Um, you may have a small team, but what are the skill sets of your small team, and who's in place that can, get this accomplished. And if you are a team of one, that doesn't exclude you from being able to get this, because a team of one, can work with contractors. They can work with other resource partners. They can have strategic partnerships to be able to accomplish, what they're trying to do here. So, but it is important for the reviewer to understand that. And then the financial overview, what are the finances like with any investor, they want to see um, finances that are in order and which also shows capabilities that you can be a good steward of funds and that you also have funds to match. Now, matching is not required in this grant. There's no matching required. But when you're putting forth a proposal and you can show that you can put more skin in the game into a project outside of the possible $30,000 that you get to fund this, it could make a stronger proposal, right? So we do want to see that. Um, it will help create a stronger proposal. So this section again is on capacity and ability to perform um, on the project that you're proposing. Part four, also an 800 word limit, has to do with program alignment. And so this section allows you to explain how participation in the program will directly help you achieve your innovation and business growth goals. And reviewers will use this information to assess whether your project is a strong fit. So there's the use of funds. In some, you may see some redundancies from section to section, which is not out of the norm for a lot of grant applications. If you've done grant applications enough in your life, you'll see some redundancy, and there's nuances to questions, right? But in this section, they do want to see how you're using the funds, the award funds, and how they would be applied, through a budgetary lens, right? You have the proposal and how it's implemented, but through a budgetary lens, how this is applied. We want to see a budget, where could you spend the money, um, you know, and not just for, if the project scope is $100,000, just say the $30,000 funds, a third of the project, what's the budget for the overall project? So that this might just make up a third of the project, right? And every project's going to be different, and every project's going to be unique, and it's almost a one-on-one conversation to be had sometimes if you have some more detailed questions about that because each one's like individual snowflake in a way, right? Um, so yeah, getting a good budget is always important. Your growth goals, I mean, what are your goals around this, and what are your future goals, and how will your business move forward in the future? Again, program fit, describe what you hope to gain from the cohort that we're putting together. Talked to some folks who are really excited about this cohort, almost more excited about the cohort than the award. I don't know about that, but um, they were excited about the opportunity to learn through the cohort and the resources, that will be offered through this cohort process. And what we hope to do is to not only educate through the cohort, but also connect with those resources like SCRA. So is your project is viable, it's a good candidate for this program. It may also be a good candidate for SCRA's programs. And even like Mitch said, even if you don't make this particular cohort of this program, you might still be a good candidate for SCRA or for other programs, right? But we want to see what you hope to gain from the cohort. And also again, a strategic alignment. Where is your strategic alignment with your project and what we're trying to accomplish and agriculture in South Carolina, right? How does all that line up? There's part five. There's no restriction on uh, you know the amount of characters that you put in here because these are just letters of commitment. And really, there's a couple of opportunities here for letters. One, which is a required part, is that we want to see a program participation letter of commitment. Because if you get accepted and selected in this program, we are asking you to attend all 5 webinars, uh, to attend the capstone, and to also participate actively and engage. We want you to be engaged. Um, so, with that, we would like to have a letter of commitment. Also, if you can go out and get letters of support, it may make your proposal stronger. We are not, the letters of support are not required,
But a
but
letter of testimony would be great that
yes,
they've used your tool and it worked. That would be perfect.
yep. So, but we do have bonus points, and that's where the bonus points come in with those testimony letters and letters of support. 1 to 3 would probably be fine. But what we're trying to determine is, do you have external folks that kind of believe in what you're doing, right? Outside of yourself or your friend network, right? Are there collaborators or community organization or other partners that believe in what you're doing and in your project, and then can they testify to that as well? So letters of support would be important, uh, and could help boost your score. And then the last part is the 5-minute video. And the video, the mechanics that we're looking for is just to introduce yourself and your business, and the problem again, and opportunity of your innovation, which that's kind of like your first 2 sections of the application, right? It's like your overview of who you are, kind of looking, also, well, first 3, kind of showing the capacity, if you're in your business or on your farm, or that you have certain tools. Um, but this is, to me, this is critically important, because you will craft a narrative. Not everyone is an expert writer, in crafting grant narratives and things like that. It does need to be strong, though. Um, a lot of people can communicate pretty well through video, and I've seen a lot of competitions that implement both a narrative and a video, and like the video is what like gets them over the edge, right? It was the one thing that made the difference, that where they got accepted or they got the award or they didn't get the award. And so if there's a lot of applications that are on a bubble or very close, the video might be the thing that is really able to communicate to a reviewer that what you're trying to accomplish. Because
Hey,
y'all
Jim,
know sometimes showing is better than telling.
Can I say something? I'm sure everybody
Yeah.
on this call has seen Shark Tank. So it's very simple to think about that. Hey, I'm Mitch Smith. Um, and think about, if you haven't used AI, ChatGPT or whatever, think about this. When you go in there, if you've identified a problem, throw it in ChatGPT and say, how many farmers struggle with this, or how many people struggle with this? Add that in there. Hey, 4,000, over 4,000 farmers struggle with this every year on their farms or whatever. Use those tools to help you clarify how big a problem this is that you're solving, because that has a huge impact on your application. But again, think Shark Tank. Think about you're walking out in front of those guys, and this is my pitch. This is my 5 minutes to tell you the story of who I am, what the problem is, and what I've created.
Yep, and it can be super effective. I've seen some
Exactly.
really good ones in 5 minutes.
Yes.
Um, because you can be succinct and you can edit. We have so many tools out there these days. I've seen, videos that people, just do on the phone, and they edit right there, and they're great. Um, but you can be as, it could be as edited as you want, and kind of like very curated, or it can be kind of on the cuff.
Right.
uh, you know, as long as you're communicating the message well is the main thing.
Right.
The last part is the 5-minute video. And and that's it. So those are all the parts. Again, technical assistance, the SBDC team and the SCRA team are available to answer questions, and I'm sure there will be a lot of questions, and folks will need assistance. Um, and Keisha and I are the point people for the SBDC, but the SBDC has more. We have other consultants as well all around the state. We have over 50 consultants, all around South Carolina in 21 locations. Excuse me. And we have an agribusiness team at SBDC, and it's a team of 5 folks. So any of those are a little bit more um, skilled in agriculture. But we have folks on our tech team too. We have a tech team as well. And then SCRA is tech focused, but they will be they work with all types of businesses, in regard. And so we will be there for technical assistance. And we're not the only us two, we're not the only organizations that offer assistance. Clemson Extension and 1890 Extension also have a lot of great agents that are trained in helping folks with business plans and grant applications and things like that. So there are definitely folks at both Clemson and SC State. If you feel comfortable with those, you can reach out to them as well. And there's third party. You can hire folks to help as well. A lot of great people out there that do grant work that can help you, you know, come up with a good proposal. Of course, SBDC, SCRA, and Extension are free services. It's not going to cost you anything, and you have a lot of expertise, right there. So with that, we're going to stop because I know there's a lot of questions. I've been seeing them in the chat, and I will say that the scaginnovation.com is the site that you need to go to. That's where all the communication will take place. That's where the application is. We will actually post this video on the website, and we hope to update the queue a little bit more as we get questions. We'll update that Q&A to keep it relevant and I know there's always a lot of questions around this stuff. So with that, I think we will go to the chat and see what kind of questions we got. You could continue to put it up in there, but I'm going to go back a little bit.
We
And
also have a hand raised too, Jim, just so you
okay, got a
know.
hand raised too. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so question here from Michael. Are these grants offered yearly? If so, what time of year? I just recently moved to South Carolina from New Jersey. So this is a one-time grant. Uh, thanks to Wells Fargo. But, and I can defer to Mitch to this, I think we would love to see this program continue. We just would have to, find more recurring funding for it. And Wells Fargo, if they're really satisfied with how this goes, they may be willing to invest again. But that is our hopes. What do you think, Mitch?
I agree. As a matter of fact, I just saw today that SBA actually just funded a $75,000 grant in North Carolina. So there are some other vehicles that, if this is successful, not only would we be able to maybe tag or find some funds through SBA, but even maybe our organization, SCRA, that could help fund and keep this moving. So again, I think the key is let's go for success and see what we can do and replicate it.
Okay, next question from Kip. With process and practice innovation, are you looking for something new? Not just implementing an existing process or practice into your operation. Correct. We're looking for something new. Something new to your business, but also, something innovative, in the agribusiness community. Something that's it's gonna, make some change. Willie Brown asks, what about new farmers and the learning process? Part of one of our priorities is historically underserved farmers, which includes new and beginning farmers. So you can be under 10 years in farming. That's the USDA definition of new and beginning. And if you talk to a lot of farmers, they're still learning even after 10 years, probably, or even longer. They're always learning. But we do want to see that you've been in business for at least 1 year. And there's great programs out there that support new and beginning farmers, and I'll just drop a mention for Clemson's new and beginning farmer program. It's really good that they'll be opening that up again first of the year. Um, okay, let's see. Next question is, can my SBDC counselor write my letter of support, or is that a conflict of interest? Yeah, I mean, an SBDC counselor can write a letter of support. Um, we have a third party that is engaged in scoring and reviewing and judging uh, the um, uh, the applications. And I have written many of USDA grants and also done the letter of support. So that's fine. You might want some additional letters of support as well. But if the SBDC counselor knows your business very well, it could be effective. Will the video be played outside of the review panelists? Will it be at the showcase? No, we're not planning on showing that outside of the review panel. It'll just be, for those people's eyes only. Um, and we do have some thoughts around the showcase and videos, but for those that are selected, that'll be a part of the discussion. And if they opt in to doing, some communication like that, we'll have that discussion. And are only 14 businesses being selected for the cohort, or are only 14 businesses being selected for the grant? It's one and the same. If you're selected for the cohort, you also receive the award. So that brings up, the idea of the award. Yeah, so if you make the 14, you are getting the grant funds. So you don't have to pitch again, right? You'll go through this cohort, you'll go through the capstone event. There's no like, Shark Tank pitch at the end to see what you get. You're going to receive the award that was allocated to you when we selected
And
selected
Jim,
you.
Jim, one thing to state on that, let's just say that you're not one of the 14. We are going to create a path for you, what we call it the entrepreneur's journey, to show you the resources you can get into that would also do similar development for you with your idea or company to get you to where, hey, SRA could maybe give you a grant down the line. So we are going to try and provide resources for those, even who don't make the cohort, so that you have a path to success as well. Maybe the next go round, but we're not going to just leave everybody hanging. We're going to have a path for you to go on and work to hopefully work out your idea and create something special for South Carolina.
Next question. Kip has another question about if you file your taxes under a non-agribusiness NAICS code because you do multiple different things. I guess would you be eligible? It seems that they're a consultant and they only do part-time duties as a consultant, part-time as agricultural producer. You do, whatever the NAICS is, it needs to be an eligible, uh, entity to apply. So, eligible entity falls as an agricultural producer or a service
Mhm.
industry that supports, agriculture. So as long as it, falls within one of those eligible, um, windows, that's fine. Um, let's see. Will these slides be shared? Yes, they will be shared with all the everyone that registered here. We'll share the slides, but we're also going to have a recording of this video, and we'll share that back out, and it will be up on the website as well. And we're getting some specific questions, but my activity code is 11300 in the forestry and logging. Does forestry count in this grant? or is it strictly focused on agricultural markets, focused on crops, animal husbandry? Yeah, forestry counts. Wood is an agricultural product. So you're part of the agricultural industry, and that does count. But you don't necessarily just have to be an agriculture producer. I mean, like we said, you can be an ag tech business that's come up with some technology that serves, agricultural producers. Um, let's see. I just received a federal EIN and officially registered. In the past, we always gave the food we grew in our home garden, which is actually what we're using in Pilot Garden. We now have 99 acres. Would we qualify for a 1 year requirement? Um, the way we're determining that if you've been in business for 1 year is did you file a tax return? That's a good way to demonstrate that, you had a year under your belt. So if you filed a Schedule F or Schedule C or, 1065 or whatever business tax return you needed to file, that would demonstrate to us that, you've been in business for a year. Okay. Is there a budget template? There is not a budget template. Um, so you can, get creative. And, if you talk with an SBDC consultant or one of us, we can help you create a budget pretty simply in a spreadsheet
Hey, Jim,
if
Jim,
need be.
we actually do have a template at SCRA.
Okay.
Maybe we could put that on the website. It's very simple. So we'd be happy to share that if they would like to have a template. We do have one that we give to all of our founders, just so when we're looking at financials, we're looking at, the same number, the same framework. So I'm happy to put that on there if you think that'd be helpful.
Yeah, and we have the ability to load those on the website, and then you can download the
Yeah.
template.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get that to us and we'll try and get that up maybe next week.
So another question. Some of these might be a little redundant, but I'm gonna, try to answer them anyway. Kai asked, are the awards given based on the application, the progress of work during the cohort, or will each business pitch at the showcase? So I did kind of answer that, but it's worth answering again. Um, the awards are based on the application. So if you are selected in the process, you're going to receive the award. Um, and so another question from Darrell. Structure is there to be 18 awardees and a maximum of 30,000. It's actually 40. Was there consideration based on funding remaining with patients? Yeah, our proposal is, around 14 awardees. But I mean, there still be could be some consideration for some changes. I'm not sure. Went weird on me.
Okay.
So, but right now it's for 14, with 30,000 each. Um, Kevin asked, what's the next steps from here? The next steps would be to, in my mind, look at the application online, review the application, and start to gather, the information that you need for the proposal. Reach out to SBDC or SCRA, and if you think you would like our assistance, and you know, go from there. And if you do have questions like that, it probably would be good to reach out to technical assistance.
Mhm.
Um, next question, Benji asked, how much emphasis is placed on the mentorship component? Does it influence grant selection? And how is a mentor matched? Excuse me. If you mean mentor by technical assistance, um, yeah, that doesn't have any emphasis on, the score other than, hopefully they will make your proposal more, appealing, and stronger a proposal. If you mean the mentorship throughout the cohort, um, it doesn't have bearing on the score, like I said before. Uh, if it mentors that you're matched with through the proposal or through the cohort. Um, the presentation is being shared. I mentioned that. Um, how many years of finances do you want to see? I think, yeah, Mitch, you put that one in there. Yeah, so that, things like that are proposal, decisions and variables that you have to look at, right? What makes a good proposal? 1 year of finances or 3 years? I mean, in my mind, 3 years would probably, be a little bit stronger, but then you have, only so much room
Yeah.
to put finance and stuff like that. But things can be summarized. I think summaries are fine, with the finances. And if you're going to do projections, you probably don't want to go out more than 3 years because
Yeah.
nobody knows what's happened in the past 3 years. Especially in today's climate, we have no idea what's around the corner in 3 years. So yeah. Um, do we have sample videos of past awardees? No. This is a brand new program. First time we've ever done it. Uh, I would say it's almost like a pilot, I guess, and like we mentioned in the beginning, we would love to uh, receive recurring funds, for this, and this is our first time. So if it's very successful, then hopefully we could, you know, work off of that success to get more funding. And so just cross your fingers there. But no, unfortunately, no samples that we can put up. Although there are other grant programs that are similar, I may be able to ask if they will allow us to use some of their videos from those folks and from the awardees who made the videos. Um, can grant funds be used for construction? How will the funding be provided? Is it a reimbursement throughout the period or provided after the completion of the 5 webinars? Great question, Jessica. And I believe that we did not put construction in there as an eligible expense. I have to go back and look here. Let's see. We had labor, working capital, R&D, supplies, materials, equipment, technology, intellectual property, legal, professional, technical services, marketing. Uh, yeah, we didn't put it as an eligible expense. Um, but we can review that and go back. Um, let we'll get back to you on the construction part.
Yeah.
We didn't put it as ineligible either. So, and under the eligible expenses, we also said not limited to those ones that we outlined. So we may consider construction. It'd be a point of clarification for us, though.
Yeah. And definitely, I think, for instance, a prototype build, let's say you're building some kind of piece of equipment, like a tool to be used or whatever, potentially that, but we'll define construction. I think that's something we need to discuss.
Yep. And then the second part of your question, how will the funding be provided? You will receive a check for the full amount that you've been allocated, and so there's no reimbursements. So a lot of folks are familiar with reimbursement programs through USDA. So fortunately, this is just you will get the full award, but it will come at the end after the 5 webinars. Uh, um, because part of it's the commitment. We want to see you go through the whole program, be involved, engaged, and come through the program. You get the reward, and you'll receive the check. And there will be some reporting as well, post-award reporting. We just want to see that you put, the money to good use, and that we'd like to follow up with you and just, you know, understand that the award done as you said you were going to do it. Do forestry and floriculture, aquaculture, nursery product areas include in agriculture? Are they included? Yes, Chase, they are. So again, forestry is all included. Aquaculture, we're considering that as a part of the agricultural community or industry. And then Jessica Gates asks, what about low-tech solutions to improve farm practices, such as lean farming practices, to improve flower farm operations? It would be more than one innovation useful on other farms. Yeah, as we put in the definition of innovation, practices are included. Lean farming practices are, you know, a means of efficiency, um, on the farm, utilizing, smaller spaces and, building up and all kinds of things like that. Then those are very innovative. So if there's spins off of, some of those lean practices, that might make it a more appealing. So how is your lean farming practice different than, some of the other lean practices that are out there? And, so there's several books that you can buy on lean farming, and I guess like Kaizen farming and what stuff like that. Um, so yeah, so how's it different from that, right? So what's the innovation from some of those as well? And there is the idea that there are practices that are done maybe in different parts of the world that are not done in the United States or the Southeast or South Carolina. And so this is kind of an innovation for South Carolina, right? Like these are done. I mentioned Japan, I guess, through the lean businesses based on like Japanese efficiency practices, but or lean farming. But yeah, so then those things you could apply to South Carolina. Maybe they're not being applied here, but through your proposal, you need to demonstrate that. You need to demonstrate that, yeah, they're doing this in Japan or they're doing this in, somewhere else, and we don't do it here. And this is why it's innovative, right? So the more you can convince a reviewer that, it's an innovative practice for South Carolina and for your farm and will make your farm, more sustainable and profitable, the better proposal will be. Um, is the application a written document, then the final project, the video submission? So it's both a written document and a video submission. So whenever you go through the application process, you will complete it online, and you'll fill in the boxes online with the narrative, and then you can upload videos, and there'll be opportunities to upload other stuff as well. But you'll have both the narrative and the video. The video supports the narrative, and it supports your overall proposal.
Recording in progress.
Um, so how many grants are being awarded? 14. What about something that would be new to South Carolina, but that's established in other states? So I did just talk about that a little bit, Brittany. Yeah, it could be a practice in another state or something that's going on in another state that is not done in South Carolina. And it's introduced here, maybe innovative, right? Like if you can figure out how to grow certain crops or products here that don't really grow that well here, but maybe they grow really good, like in the Northeast or something. I mean, that would be an innovation that could be useful. Will the videos that are submitted with the application be made public or only shared among reviewers? Again, I answered that question. It'll just be among reviewers. How many bonus points are associated with the letters of support? If you go down to the eligibility criteria on the website, there's actually a link to the request for applications, and there's a scoring rubric at the bottom of that. And within that scoring rubric, it tells you how many points are applied to letters. Um, see, if we don't have 1 year, then what other grants or assistance are possibly available? Mitch mentioned that for those who aren't eligible, we're going to like give them a path um, to finding other opportunities. That'll be a big part of what we try to do for folks that don't make the cohort or just are interested in getting that information. How many judges will be on the panel? Three. We'll have three judges. Uh, okay. See, our ideas and conversations with mentors considering some of our proprietary information kept confidential. Good question. If you work with the SBDC and you sign on as a client, part of that engagement is creating a confidentiality agreement. SBDC is a SBA program, and all of our client information is confidential and have the agreement in place. So yes, with the SBDC consultants, it's confidential. I'm assuming like SBDC, I mean, I'm sorry, SCRA is likely the same. They have it's a responsibility that they keep, anything they discuss confidential. Extension agents, maybe, I mean, you might have to ask them directly if, they have confidentiality agreements. Because I agree, if you're dealing with innovative ideas, products, practices, services, whatever it is proprietary information. It's your recipe, it's your, invention, it's your whatever. So, and you should want to protect that. And yeah, so what we do have and all of the judges will sign confidentiality agreements and NDAs and all that stuff. So yes. Um Is there a timeline for implementing funds? And can this be a 2 or 3 year plan? Alexis, yes, that's a good question. We haven't stated a timeline. Typically, in most grants that I work with, there's usually in USD a 2 year period to complete. You know, um, it would be a part of your proposal, to lay out that timeline. And this is a strong proposal depending on how far out it is. Also depends on what you're doing, right? Some things might have a long way to get done than other things. So it is a good question. Um, we at this time we have no timeline, but we're probably after we got this question, we're going to put one on. And we designed this program, so we're still open to suggestions and making changes. Our funding is from Wells Fargo, so we do have some liberty with some of the rules um, that we put in place. Okay, let's see. Is beekeeping considered agribusiness? Yes. Bees are actually considered livestock. Um, I don't know if you ever knew that or not, but is there a minimum or maximum amount of profit or income generated that has to be met in order to meet eligibility requirements for new and beginning farmers? There's not a minimum. Um, I mean, you do need to be well, I take that back. You do need to be a business. So, I think if you file a tax return, then you had some revenue, right? I think most USDA usually you have to spend $1,000 or make $1,000 a year. I think that might be right to be considered, a producer and in business. Um, there is a maximum. Depends on your going back to your eligibility requirement of being a small business. So the NAICS code and the SBA size standards, they base size standards on the amount of revenue that you. It's pretty high, but it's based off SBA standards. I'm thinking that like for most agricultural producers, it's going to be like 3.5 million would be the ceiling. But if you're kind of adjacent to producers, you're serving producers, it may be different. It just depends on what your code is. Um, let's see. If we request help from the SBDC with our application, do we need to request someone specific who is familiar with the program, or would anyone be able to help? Uh, yes, you could ask for, Keisha or I, who are working directly on the program, but we do have some other folks, Matt Neen and Scott and Mace and Costas Ionotis, who are all on our agribusiness team who could help as well. Any it's what's best for you. Any of us are glad um, to offer assistance. 30,000, even though we don't awarded, since it's up to 30,000. Yes, you can build the budget around 30,000. Um, the idea of it being less than 30,000 is, if you have a project that just, doesn't need $30,000, right? But if your project is more than 30,000, that's fine too. See, we've been in business for 12 years, but not all of our years were cash flow. That's fine. You don't have to have made a profit to be eligible. You just have to have been in business and had revenue, top line revenue. Um, and a lot of businesses, are zeroed out on the bottom line, or they lose money each year, and maybe make money every third year. It's not uncommon. A lot of folks know, or in business, you know. Um, the infrastructure such as well drilling and utilities setup. Okay, so guess the question is, can you do well drilling or utility setup? That does go back to construction, I think. Um, so we're actually going to review that, and we'll put it up on the website as to whether construction is eligible or not. There are other um, there are other grant opportunities, funding opportunities out there for both wells and utilities. I've worked with a lot around energy and those type things. So there's other stuff available. Um, where are all the points of contacts located? Columbia State, Charleston. Well, SBDCs were all across the state. SERA, I think, is Columbia, Greenville, Charleston. Extension is all over the state. So you can find us anywhere to help. Again, if you're reaching out to Keisha and I, we're in the Midlands, but we can, work with folks all over the state as well. Okay, let's see. We're getting towards the end here, questions, and I'm going to take some more. If there's hands raised, we'll take some of those as well. Would it be a conflict of interest to get a letter of recommendation from someone at Clemson or the South Carolina Department of Ag? No, it's not a conflict of interest. As long as their recommendation just supports, what you're doing, right? Is agritourism considered agribusiness? Yes. To have agritourism, you have to have an agricultural operation to start with, right? Um, and agritourism, there can be innovations in agritourism for sure. And agritourism is honestly uh, a great opportunity in agriculture to diversify your operations, right? Not agritourism is not for everybody because you deal with people and you deal with people coming on your property as liability and all that stuff. But it is a great opportunity for a lot of farms, for the right farms or for the right operations. But yeah, I would consider agritourism a part of the agricultural community and you know eligible. Um, how important is it that the first or second year of businesses be profitable? Again, I kind of answer that question. You don't have to be profitable. You could be an existing business and have a couple, like I said, a couple years of loss. Year gain. And I wouldn't get too hung up on. I know part of the scoring is in capacity and sustainability of your business. Showing that you can um, uh, you know, accomplish the task, based on uh, past financial performances. It's important, but if you've had some losses in the first couple of years, that's not unusual for any business. It's just what is that avenue or what's that path to profitability? And how is this project going to make you that profitable too, right? There are some businesses that go for 5 years not profitable, but there's a path, to that, and you're showing improvements, as you go as well. And a lot of times, innovation can help with efficiency and reducing costs, and those cost reductions and that investment, leads to profitability on the bottom line. So then that would be a part of your project proposal, demonstrating how that's going to happen. And can there be more than one application for proposal per business? We're going to limit that to one application per business um, and per business owner. Because I've seen it in the past. Typically, USDA restricts that as well, um, to one owner, one business. Because some owners have multiple businesses, right? So you could put in an application. If you have three businesses, you could put three applications in, but it's the same owner. So we would restrict that to one owner. To be fair, we have a lot of people that are interested in the project. And, if let's say two of your businesses, were funded, you're taking up two cohort spots. But, so to be fair, we would just restrict that to one application per business slash owner.
Will there be a farmer or panel, someone that has row crop farming experience in this panel?
Yes, we will have someone on the panel that is an agricultural producer.
Okay, thanks.
We will
Okay.
have that representation on there. Thanks, Ronald. I appreciate your feedback. We did have a couple more questions come in the chat as well, which I think are good. What if I have multiple innovative ideas that encompass farming, or should I just pick one or two? I would focus on one good proposal or good innovative idea and proposal. It may have be multifaceted or something like that, but as focused as you can be is probably better in my opinion. Okay, we're coming up on 5:30, and this is our time. I appreciate everybody who attended. Hopefully everybody learned something today and picked up some good tips on how best to apply for the program. And yeah, continue to monitor the website and for updates in our Q&A there, and for any changes that might come up. We're going to post this recording on the website, and as I mentioned, we'll also be sending out uh, a correspondence to every slides and also with contacts with myself and Keisha, Mitch and Javon, and we want to give you some other resources that you can contact, including Clemson Extension and 1890 Extension, if you'd like to reach out to some of those folks to help you through the process as well. Um, but I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we appreciate you coming. And take care.